raised by collared shirts, and I was raised on collard greens. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 16 of the Folks Like Us podcast. Today, I've got my buddies Jon Sepulveda and Justin Bralts, and they are the founder of a company called BusCall. And we're gonna talk about kind of how all that stuff got started and what exactly BusCall is. And I'm excited to catch up with a couple of my old buddies, and really looking forward to the conversation. So we'll just kind of start with you guys' background. John, where are you from originally?
Central Florida, so Orlando area. Okay. Born and raised down there, and Justin's same kind of area.
Okay.
Yeah. We met in high school, Apopka High School, when we were like 13, 14 years old.
APK?
Yeah. So
yeah, our background actually is like really similar.
Pretty long,
because we've known each other and been pretty close friends since.
We met in a musical called Susical the Musical.
Okay.
And, from there we became buddies, and we loved the same kind of music. So we played in tons of bands together. We were really big into like the emo screamo scene back in the day, like Story of the Year, The Used, like all that kind of stuff. So that really got us there. But we also did theater too. So we all through high school we did theater, and then we actually went to college and did theater together there as well, while still playing in bands and doing all that stuff.
Cool.
Together.
And where'd y'all go to college at?
Seminole State College.
Yeah, it's a community college in Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I say we went to college, but it was a semester. It wasn't anything impressive.
We didn't go for the academics. We went for the theater and stuff, because I think we get like money to go there.
It was like a grant. Yeah.
We went and did some auditions, and they gave us money to go there. And we were like, all right, sweet. And our parents loved that. So
yeah, we gave them a semester though, and then we were like, we're out.
Gotcha. So you guys you're passionate from an early.
Yeah, music's always been a thing for us. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, my whole dad's side of the family are all professional musicians.
Really?
So I grew up in that world.
Gotcha.
But I'm the only one out of my generation that like pursued it.
Yeah.
That tried to find avenues and things through that.
Gotcha. Cool.
So
Justin, you grew up right next to where he was at?
Pretty much. We went to the same high school. It's funny, both of us didn't live in Apopka at the time. We lived in other counties, but our parents put us in Apopka because it was such a nice area.
I'm pretty sure we both used fake addresses.
Yeah, we did. I used my aunt's address.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we met in 10th grade. The first musical, we were doing musicals, and I think that's whenever I joined chorus, and he was more into acting, doing straight stuff and drama.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I was more of a singer. Obviously, I grew up in church and fell in love with music early that way.
I feel like that's like every musician.
It's a good transition. It really is. Yeah. I didn't really have any family that was in music or anything like you. I mean, your uncle and dad have quite the resume.
Yeah. So. My uncle is a little plug, but my uncle was the percussionist for NSYNC. So he did the No Strings Attached tour.
Wow.
And the Celebrity tour. So he went pretty big time.
Which, being from Orlando, that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, because that's like boy band capital back in the day.
Sorry, take my jacket off.
No, no worries. Well, hell yeah, guys. So did you guys move to Nashville around the same time then?
No, I moved first. So I moved in 2012. I used to play with an artist named Michael Ray. He was kind of in the same area. We grew up, so we were like in Apopka. He was in Eustis, which was the neighboring town. Justin actually literally grew up with Michael. They went to middle school.
Yeah, it was full circle. It's crazy. This was after we met each other, finished high school.
Yeah, I joined Michael's
and
band.
John got picked up by Mike.
Yeah,
but me and Mike, we went to elementary school and middle school, and then kind of separated the high school years. It's probably a good 6 to 8 years we didn't talk. And
because I didn't join his band until I was like 23, I think it was.
Because again, like we went to Apopka in a different county, so like Lake County was when I knew Michael, and we grew up from elementary school on, and then I went to Orange County, and it was funny because he's just like, yeah, man, I got picked up by this country artist, and I was like, oh, cool, man, and I was like, what's his name? And he's like, yeah, his name's Michael Ray. I was like, man, that sounds familiar. He showed me a picture of him.
Yep.
And I was like, man, that's Michael Roach, like that's his real name, and I think you guys had an outdoor show in Eustis.
You like walked in and he was
in the middle of nowhere.
Justin Bralts?
Packed.
It was so funny.
And he brought me backstage, and dude, it was like that whole 6 to 8 years just went away. Like we just picked up right where we left off, and we've been pretty close. Especially the early Nashville years. Obviously, he's huge now. So
Yeah. But I joined his band in Central Florida, played with him for about 2 months, and then I moved to Nashville with the band, the 6 members. We all moved together in 2012. And it was funny because it was like we did the band thing, even though you know it was like the artists in the band. We came up as a band.
Yep.
So we all lived in a 2-2 apartment. So there was like 6 of us in a 2-2 apartment.
Stories.
2-2, does that just mean like
2 bed, 2 bath?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and there's 6 of us.
Damn.
So like there was
Classic
like
band
army
story.
cots, like blow up mattresses. Like I slept on the couch. It looked like a refugee camp when you walked in.
Good grief.
But so we did that for a while, and you know, of course, his fame grew there from there. But yeah, I moved in 2012, and I think around the same year, or maybe the year after, Justin actually moved to New York.
Yeah, I always wanted to live in New York City. You know, at the time, obviously it's different now, but you know, at the time it was just this iconic place where everything started.
Yep.
You know, and especially with like movies and but I just wanted the feeling of going there and seeing if I can make it, and you know, I didn't, because it's come to find out New York is very hard to live in, and especially if you're not making quite a bit of money. You know, at the time I was just bartending.
Yep.
So you know, he was in Nashville, I was in New York City. I'm trying to get my foot in the door with some marketing companies, and you know, I fell in love with, you know, that business side of things and marketing. But he was out in Nashville, and come to find out, you know, the company I was working for ended up like falling through.
Okay.
And the building that I was living in, my apartment was in, was selling. So I had this pretty much like this choice to make, you know, whether I wanted to find a new place, find a new job, or just, you know, move back home and see what happens. So,
gotcha.
You know, I decided to do that, but I never did because of this guy.
Yeah, we had like a moment together where he was like, "I'm gonna go back home. Like I'm done here." I was like, "Dude, don't go back home. There's nothing there for us.
Yeah.
We're not of that place anymore."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Apopka is a small town.
Yeah.
You know, I love it to death, but it's one of those ones where you go home and everybody you went to high school with is still there.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Relatable.
So I told him, I was like, "Dude, don't go back home. Like, come to Nashville.
Yeah.
Like, you have the attitude, the mindset. You could do some shit out here."
Yeah.
A lot of people, even Andrew, you know,
Yep.
Mike's drummer, I knew him. He's from Sereno, which is right outside of Apopka.
Yeah.
Like we all grew up together, and you know, so a lot of my friends were already in Nashville. So if I were to go back, I mean, I had a few friends. You know, one of our really good close friends, Kevin, who lives in Orlando. But he convinced me otherwise, which was honestly the best decision, because you know, I had already been writing songs in New York pretty frequently, so
And that's what
it just made sense to me to go.
when you got into town, that was like your goal, was to be a songwriter.
Yeah, it really was.
Songwriter in Nashville.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Which actually leads to the roots of BusCall.
Okay.
It's he did a thing called Writer's House. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, it's like a collective. We did it at my house every Tuesday night from 7 to 11.
It was a really cool concept.
I just invited, you know, 10 to 15 songwriters over to my house, and
Nice.
we split up into, you know, 3 or 4 groups of 3, and I'd try to put like a percussionist, a lyricist, and a guitar player,
Yep.
or a singer and guitar player in the groups. That
and it was really cool
would
too, because
vibe.
they had like the garage was one room, but they made it like a vibe room.
Yeah,
It
had
was like
couches
lights and
stuff,
all that kind of
yeah.
stuff, and then you would go to another room and it was like a whole different feel.
Yeah.
So it was cool. It was like every room was a different inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'd spend so much money on booze and food, because the first hour we would just kind of chit chat and get to know each other, eat, drink, and then I'd be like, all right, we, you know, pull names out of the hat. I would move some people if I needed to, because I didn't want like three guitar players together, you know.
Yep.
And we literally for 2 hours would write music, and then at the end we would get in my living room and showcase what everybody wrote.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Grace,
and
who
then
I
you
was
ended up doing a showcase.
Yeah,
That's
Grace-
when South was around. You remember that place?
Yeah,
Oh.
remember South in Midtown?
Yep.
Yeah. Mhm. So Grace came to me and she was like, "Hey, we should do like a writer's night, you know," because she was helping me run Writer's House, and you know, we finally partnered with South and did our first one, and it was a banger, man. It was awesome. So
Pretty
I was
stacked
even
bill,
on
too.
it.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Pretty stacked bill.
Yeah, I looked back on it the other day on my Instagram. I was like, man, look at these names on there. that
What were some of the names?
John Gurney was on there. Drew Dixon.
Hunter was on there too, wasn't he?
Hunter Tyna Davis.
Yeah, I think he was on there.
Dude, it was so long.
So long ago. It was like 2015, probably 2016.
Tyler Rich, wasn't he on it?
I think so.
Tyler Rich, I think so. I don't know. I have to go back, but
it's funny too. Like just being in Nashville. Like I've been here 10 years now, and just you see the classes of our artists. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So like you can look at that list and be like, okay, like 2 of those people made it or still doing it. You know what I mean?
Joey, Matt Ferrani were on there. Like, now that I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's funny because Luke Combs' drummer, Jake
Summers,
was the house cajon player for the showcase.
Yeah.
So it's just like not only artists, it's musicians too. So
you
see
see
their
them.
journey where they go. I mean, they say it's a 10-year town. I think it's a little less than that, but
I mean, it's
nowadays
it's like it's a video post now, honestly,
because of social media.
It's such a game changer now. But while he was doing all this, I was still touring. I was always
so with Michael Ray.
Yeah, I toured.
And I wanted to say he hit it hard right out of the gate. I mean, I remember hearing him first time on the radio, and it seemed like months later, it seemed like he was already kind of headed for stardom.
There was definitely he actually won a TV show.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
A lot of people don't know him that for. So, which actually
What show?
was in his face. It was called The Next.
Okay.
And so it was on. I think it was on the CW.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was in 2013. No, about 2012.
John Rich,
when we had just
was one of the judges.
They had, I think it was 4 judges / coaches.
Gotcha.
And so this was before The Voice came out and stuff like that. So, but the way that they did it, which was really cool, they would go to major cities and then get people who already had traction. So people who had like YouTube followings or like were popular in like the scene or something like that, and they would only have like 4 or 5 people audition. And then they would pick a winner from the city, and then eventually all of them competed in L.A.
That's awesome.
And then whoever won got I think it was Atlantic Records, got a record deal. So Michael took it all.
Yep.
John Rich was.
It was like $100,000 or something like that.
Something like that, and he got the deal with Atlantic. And this is like when I'm telling you, we all lived in a 2-2 apartment, bro. We were so poor.
Really?
Like it was bad.
Was that a game changer when you got that $100K?
We thought it was going to be immediate, but it wasn't. So I remember this was a very funny night. Dick's Last Resort over on 2nd.
Yep.
Somebody called and set up a viewing party for us. And they thought like 100 people were going to show up or something like that. There was only like 5 of us. It was a 5-band. We showed up. They had like beer tubs, everything set up. And they're like, yeah, you have like a $500 tab. We're like, word? So needless to say, we partied. At the end, we popped champagne. We like ruined one of the TVs, just bounced. But he won, and then he got his first #1 probably like a year later, which was "Kiss You in the Morning."
Okay.
And then that changed everything. Like in the same weekend, he got a #1. We played "Good Morning America," so that was our first TV appearance ever. And then we got a bus, which was
a
like
trip to G-Ma's house.
It was
America.
insane. Yeah, but. It was a great weekend, and then from there, his trajectory went from there.
Good Morning America is such like a staple gig for Nashville musicians and artists when they're starting.
Yeah, and it was crazy too because like all of us were from the same kind of area in Central Florida, which are very small towns.
Yep.
And people don't leave those towns, so we were like, the small town heroes. People were like, "Oh my God, they actually did it!" You know, when we were like on TV because we did like Good Morning America, Today Show, Ellen, Jimmy Kimmel. Like we did a ton of TV. Stuff. So the people were seeing this back home and losing their minds.
Oh, I bet.
So I toured with him for 7 years. So we did huge tours. We did Old Dominion, a couple of Kip Moore tours, Brantley Gilbert, Darius Rucker, which was my favorite, hands down.
Really?
Dolphins fan, of course.
Well, actually, when we played South Florida, coolest meetup I've ever had. He had Dan Marino and Ric Flair at the show. So I met both of them at the same time. And I'm like,
Marino?
What is real life? What is real life? So, but and then that comes 7 years later, we parted ways. And then, but in that time, 2018 was my last year with Michael. He started BusCall.
Okay.
So he went, take it over from
Writer's
House,
Just kind of tell them what BusCall is.
Yeah, so my original idea was based off of Ward in Whiskey Jam. I was such a fan, and I just saw nobody else was doing it. And at the time, I was bartending with Tin Roof, and they kind of approached me and said, "Hey, man, I think you're ready for to do something." And I was just like, "Well, let me think about it." And I'm such an overthinker that I like to plan and research and think of every outcome before I do something. But this one was very cool because I kind of just tested. Let's just do it, and trust that it's going to be great. And I remember being like, "Oh, yeah, man, I think, I built all these relationships with these musicians and downtown, and a lot of them have original music. The reason why they're, downtown, and you can test this and stuff, is because they want to play their original music down there and hope that somebody hears and wants to hire them or work with them or write with them. And I love that process. And so I just wanted to really emulate, and then obviously with Writer's House, that was a huge inspiration of just getting to know all the songwriters too. But having a place to bring industry-minded people with music and showcase their original stuff and give people an opportunity that wouldn't have the opportunity, and really stay grounded and humble at the same time.
Awesome.
Not being too big, not being too arrogant or anything like that with the show. And it would I just fell in love with the process, man, and it really fed my soul, still does. And it's something that I'll have for the rest of my life as long as it's allowed. So it's the passion behind it is me finding these artists and really showing themselves that they can do this, because a few of our acts every week may have not even had a full band show before. Yep. And they always come up to me and they're always like, dude, thank you. That was awesome. You can just see the change. You see the change in their face and in their mind that they can do this, man. And then you see them grow.
Yep.
We've been doing this almost 5 years. And
yeah, I mean, we have... It's cool because, I always envied Whiskey Jam because they have all those huge artists now. Yeah. And now our artists are starting to blossom. Tyler Braden's blowing up. Priscilla Block is killing it.
Yep.
All these guys came through BusCall, and it was that's so cool to watch them grow like that, and just to be a small part of that journey.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. So he started BusCall, and the name is great because if you remember 1505, that used to be just a gravel lot across the
apartments
street.
Across the street.
So that whenever I moved here, it was already the Element apartment.
Okay.
I don't remember those days, but I've heard about the glory days of the gravel lot.
So before that, it was just a dirt lot. And Wednesday nights were all these big names, Lee Bryce, Jared Neiman, all these people would come park their buses at that lot and go to Tin Roof, because Tin Roof was practically the only bar right there next to Music Row at the time.
And you had the Irish one up on the circle too.
Dan
McGinnis.
And at the time before that, this was before my Nashville time, was John Rich actually had a night kind of similar to BusCall.
Yeah.
It was a little wilder from the stories I've heard, but
I think Nashville was just wilder in general.
Yeah. Tin Roof in general is more tame than what it was.
No,
so.
100%.
But yeah, so they would collectively park their buses and kind of get up on stage, practice their sets, get a nice buzz before they got on the bus to go out on the road. And that's the idea. It just kind of clicked with the passion behind what I wanted to bring, and then that story alone. I remember sitting there with Morgan Kyle, big name with Tin Roof, and he was just, we almost said the name at the same time. By the way I was describing it with the story, as I said, what I'm going to call it is, they said they knew it. What I was going to say, we said it together. It was magic.
Yep. Meant to be.
So excuse me. So from there, I kind of started it on my own. John was gone every week. Mike was super busy, and when you get a bigger artist, they're usually leaving at early Wednesdays for the Thursday night shows that they pick up. But I did it for a whole year by myself. I awkwardly hosted on stage, and did my best there. It was a real challenge for me, but I'm welcoming the challenges as I get older. So it just turns out to be a great thing. And the very first one, man, was one of our best, one of our busiest.
Okay, and who was on it?
Oh gosh, man, some names that I can think of. Anthony Billups was the very first artist for BusCall that ever
Good
performed.
old Billups.
And he keeps asking for a T-shirt that says I was the first artist to play BusCall.
Is he the guy with the kind of wild hair? He's got the podcast.
Yeah. He's a Chiefs fan too.
Big Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
So I met him down in Key West. So I went to Key West Songwriter Fest for the first time.
He's got a lot of relationships there.
And somehow I ended up being on a golf cart with this dude. And let me tell you, he's wild as a bug.
He's a vibe, man.
Yeah.
He's a vibe. He's a good human, man. One of the best human beings in Nashville. I know that.
Have you ever find yourself on Broadway? What is it, Tuesdays?
I don't think he does it anymore.
He doesn't do it anymore?
No,
Damn.
I think they just ended that. Him and Troy.
Yeah, he used
the
to
guy
play
who runs
every
the podcast with him.
Tuesday, and it's the best set. Hilarious. It's literally like a stand-up
Yeah.
act for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Nice. I did want to share one story about the first time I played BusCall.
That was what?
Dude,
You were
probably 2018.
Yeah, you were there
So
early.
you were the first year, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was the first year.
Yeah.
That was the first year, yep.
Wow.
Well, I mean, we started in February, like February 2nd or
Okay.
7th or something
I
like
think it
that.
was 7th, yeah.
So, yeah, super early in 2018 we started. But yeah, that's real early. You've been with us every year.
Yeah.
We get you in there, a few times?
Yep. Well, and I just want to kind of confirm what you were saying. Like, somebody who is brand new to town, you don't have a lot of confidence, and I'd never really played a full band show down here that, especially my original stuff, and I just remember I think I played last, and the 3 songs I played went over very well. I remember, and the crowd was really into it, and I actually got an encore. And man, that made me feel so freaking good. And yeah, it just like,
I love that.
it made me, it just like reinvigorated my, like you said, it made me believe in myself. It made me go, hey, this is a little glimpse that I think I can maybe do this. And and now I've been in town 6 years, and I've recorded 26 songs. Like, and it's just, yeah, dude, that's a huge part of the journey for me, was playing that first BusCall.
Yeah. And that's probably one of the best compliments we always get, because we're on the grind nonstop. Yeah. We're always booking. We're always looking for what's next. We're always trying to push, the brand and, think of things that we could do better and stuff. So we're always on the grind, that we don't stop to just kind of take in the scope of what's happening. Mm-hmm. But it's those conversations we have, like what you just said, where people are like, you guys are a thing in Nashville. Yeah. Like, people come to Nashville and immediately like, you got to play BusCall.
Yeah.
And that's like the best compliment we could get,
That's really all I want out of it, man, is that, because, service to others is a big thing in my life. So, like, seeing that I can do that for artists and hearing that I can do that we can do that for artists is unbelievable. And it's a very special thing to see and hear. So,
and one of the best things about it too is, like, it's awesome that we get to help the artists and stuff like that, but the community aspect that we've been able to do with this as well. Mm-hmm. We've helped so many charities. We've worked with musicians on call. Mm-hmm. What else? St. Jude's.
Yeah. St. Jude's is a big one.
Yeah, St. Jude's is like our yearly, our anniversary is like St. Jude's. Mm-hmm. And we've raised thousands on thousands of dollars for all these different charities, and like, that just feels amazing. What I mean? To give back to that.
Yeah, music and community, man. It really just all came together with the show, and it's really humbling, like you said. Like, we're always trying to do the next best thing or be better than everybody else, but at the same time, it's almost like a lesson. Like, you don't need to, because that's not what it's about. What it's about is what you're already doing, what we're already doing.
Yep.
Man.
100%.
For these artists and these new people, like, you don't even have to play BusCall to get to know and become a part of the community. You just go and you just start talking to people, and you just develop those relationships. And I always get messages from people that are like, hey, I'm a new bass player, man. I'm trying to get, into some Broadway bands and play in Broadway, but I just don't know how to do it because I don't want to go bother them at their gigs. I'm like, you got to go to Demonbreun, man. Go in Midtown. Go to these showcases. Start talking to people. BusCalls, and then I plug my showcase. Obviously, I want to invite everybody, but come to mine. I'll introduce you to people. I've introduced so many people to so many connections to this town, and I feel like it's a development that I have now that I can help even more. And that's what I mean about taking BusCall to the next levels, like in those aspects of like being able to help with connecting, being able to book. I run 7 venues across the nation, so I can place you on a stage out there and get you paid, and which is kind of me giving back to you guys because you guys donate your time and energy and music to come give a great show to our fans. So, it's a really cool thing, man, and it's very humbling.
I think I heard somebody say this, or maybe I think I heard somebody say this, but I don't know if I thought of it or not, but I think it's kind of true that you're doing Nashville right whenever you are giving more to Nashville than you expect to give to you in return.
Yep,
I love that.
And I think you guys are definitely the epitome of that.
And I mean, we're blessed to be in this city, because this city is so community oriented.
Yep.
Like, it's not like a cutthroat place. It's like, hey, if I can help you further your career, let's do it. You know what I mean? Because I know you're gonna return it. You know,
I used to end every show with "Let's just lift each other up."
Yep.
If one person gets a great opportunity, you know, help the people that didn't. You know, and I think that as long as we're all doing that, we all should be successful. So I think that's a very important thing in this town, like you said. But this town is filled with original people and creators, and from all aspects, not just music. And that's why I feel like Nashville's such a hub in this country right now for creators. You know, and a lot of these creative agencies and big businesses are moving here. You know, and it's crazy. But yeah, it's just been great, man. It really has, and to be able to help somebody along the way too, it's just makes it even
You know what I think's cool? Building off of that, what you just said. It's not just music anymore that Nashville's known for. Like the stand-up comedy scene is getting really, really big here because of Zanies. You know, Theo Vaughn, for example, he's one of my favorite comedians, and I've seen him at Zanies multiple times. And like really big names like that are moving to Nashville because the community aspect of this place doesn't just stop at, you know, being in the music industry.
100%.
Like I've heard a lot of reports of there's a lot of like filming stuff that's starting to happen here too. So like a lot of my singing friends are doing little side gigs as actors and actresses, and it's just like Nashville it's a cool. It hasn't even started yet.
It is a cool city.
It's just like something about it just like draws somebody to it. You know what I mean? It's like when you see it on TV. I mean, they had when I first moved here. That show Nashville was just getting going.
Oh gosh,
and it was everywhere. You know, and it was really cool to see. You know, I came from New York City where I saw shows being filmed everywhere when I walked down the street, and then I come to Nashville and I see that too. But it's so special, and like you said, man, like the acting scene is getting bigger.
I do love how people who come to town expect the Bluebird to be this huge venue.
Yeah, and
it's like, no, it's in a strip.
The little plaza.
Like, in Green Hills. It's not even downtown.
Yeah. And it's like a very tiny room. It's not even
tiny.
that big. Yeah, so, but it's cool, man. I love that, too, about Nashville. It's like, they're not too big for their britches, but they are, you know?
Yeah.
They're very adamant about keeping that feeling of where they came from.
Yeah, it's humble, but it's also like, dude, we can hang with the best of them. Kind of.
Exactly.
We're about to get a massive new stadium for the Titans. That's going to be a game changer.
So what is it?
Sure.
It's over $2 billion.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean that whole area is going to be a new part of town.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be new bars. There's going to be new venues.
It's supposed to be like an
everything.
extension of Broadway.
Yeah,
pretty much across the river.
It's going to be really cool to see. I mean, I remember when they went through the whole rooftop developments at all the bars, and like we went from 150 stages to like 275 stages like overnight.
Yeah.
And I remember asking myself, how are they going to fill all these stages? And they did, you know?
Yeah.
So for it to happen again, I mean, it makes sense because, I mean, there's so many people moving here every day.
I was actually telling one of the bartenders last night, I used to laugh when I worked at Tin Roof, and Tin Roof on Broadway has the smallest rooftop on Broadway. So people would go up there, and I'd be bartending, and they'd go up there and they'd be like, "This is it." You're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Then we can't please you with something you just discovered."
It's like a smoking section. That's all it is, really. Like,
yeah, it's like your uncle's like deck that he lets you go out on, and there's just like somebody there serving Busch Light.
Exactly. Yeah. I would just say like it's the most intimate rooftop on.
We did our draft up there.
Yeah, we did.
That's fun,
dude. Let's talk about football for a second.
Okay,
Was it not the coolest thing when the NFL draft was in Nashville?
Bro, that was God, we actually got Bud Light Premier passes.
Yeah.
So
Acme, which is
so
right
we
in
were
front of the
right
stage.
on the stage pretty much.
And we were on like the fourth level looking down.
We were like looking down onto
insane.
the stage, dude. It was nuts.
But before that, we went and did all the stuff over by the river. And,
they had like the what is it, the
activations and stuff. Like they had the field goal kicking.
Yeah. There's a name for it.
What do you mean?
The players go through it before they
combine.
It was kind of like a combine setup, where you could like do the
like a skills competition.
Pretty much, yeah.
They
like
had
throwing, running,
they had
all that kind of stuff. But
they bought.
It was nuts.
ESPN bought like 8 bars out, and Tin Roof was one. And they took all our stages and they turned them into this like. There was this really cool recording I posted on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, it was like the Monday Night Football.
Like, and it was like da, 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 and it was me.
It was nuts.
Dude, it was so awesome. So one of my favorite things ever happened that week or that weekend. my friend Brandon Waddell, his brother Jeremy is a huge Chiefs fan. He's from Kansas City, and he was like a Visa Platinum card holder or something like that. And Brandon was like, "Hey man, we've got VIP passes to go to the draft party at FGL House."
Okay.
And it was like the rooftop of FGL, and it was all bought out, and it was exclusively for those members or whatever. But I was lucky enough to be up there, and it was open bar, like Woodford Reserve, all as much as you wanted. It was great, which is dangerous.
Yeah.
But what was really cool that happened, that they announced Marcus Mariota was going to be there to come speak on the stage and just kind of talk.
Yeah.
And I was one of the only Chiefs fans in there other than Jeremy. And the bartender looked at me and she kind of smirked and she said, "Hey, you're definitely going to want to stick around because there's a Chiefs player coming and I think you're going to be pretty happy about it." And it's going to happen right after they announce the Madden cover. And, of course, Mahomes the year before just had his MVP season where he threw 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards, first year as a starter. And I was watching the TV, and they revealed that he was on the Madden cover. And I was like, there's no way this dude is about to come to this bar right now. And sure enough, he walked in, and I got to meet him. And it was just, man, it was so cool.
Is he tall?
I'd say he's maybe an inch or two taller than me.
Okay.
But just such a nice guy, and it was just so cool to get my picture with him and meet him in person and stuff. And I mean, what are the chances that the exact bar I'm at is the one that he's going to go speak at? And
Yeah.
it was like it was the most magical thing ever. But yeah, that was freaking awesome. I can't wait for the draft to come back here Sunday.
I mean, from what I've heard, like
dumb if
because
they
it was
didn't,
done
honestly.
so well
Yeah.
that we're back in like the names, like they want to bring
Yep.
it back.
Yeah.
And it was insane because like working downtown, you see the size of downtown, and there's no way they're gonna be able to house 600,000-700,000 people. And sure enough, they did. And there was no problems. There was no like. I was expecting like rioting, like you know what I mean,
Dude,
I thought it was gonna be nuts because it was such a tight space to put all those people.
Did you guys ever see that pan of that thing like going down Broadway and over the sea of people, and it felt like it never ended all the way to like 7th Avenue or something?
Yeah, it was
I'm like, what?
nuts.
No, I was like, this is insane. I remember walking through it, but I just didn't really realize how many people were there. And we did just kind of go through like the Preds going to the playoffs, so we saw Broadway fill, but nothing to this. Like in the stage, how they built this massive production stage outside in the city, and it fit so well. And it was really well ran. It really was.
I will say though, I loved our first pick. It was Jeffrey Simmons. So.
Was it?
Big Jeffrey Simmons fan.
Now, is that Titans or Dolphins?
Titans.
Okay.
I'm a Titans fan.
You're a Titans fan?
I'm a Titans
You're a
fan.
Dolphins fan, clearly. He's got the
So
hat.
he grew up watching football. I never watched football. So we're from Central Florida, so the Orlando Magic is what we grew up with.
Yeah.
So big basketball guys.
Disney and Magic.
So everybody expects me to be like a Tampa Bay fan or something like that.
Yeah.
I never got
A lot
into
of
football.
Tampa Bay fans in Orlando, for
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, because we're only an hour and a half
Right.
maybe from
it's not
Tampa.
far.
But when I moved here, I went to my first Titans game, and this was back when we had Jake Locker.
Yeah.
So we were not that good, but I immediately fell in love with the culture, like just the feel of football and stuff. And ever since then, I've just been a Titans fan. So
Yeah, awesome, dude. What do you think so far about the Miami season? It's been a roller coaster already.
Man, I was hyped until the whole, concussions and stuff, and then that kind of put me in a weird spot because I you want to win, you want him to come back, and I'm glad that he came back to beat the Bills, and but at the same time, then after you find out what's going on, how dangerous it actually is, it's like, man, that was stupid, and then you see it again the next game, and I just saw the interview with him, When I heard that he was coming back, I'm like, you can only have so many concussions before it's life threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
and especially like in a small time frame.
And of that magnitude, like he got rocked twice.
And how how the coaches are kind of viewing it as like, look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to this person what they want to do with their life, and like I'm sure he's gotten experts, from left and right telling him what to do, and but ultimately, at the end of the day, it's his decision. Now, what did kind of irk me, though, was the head coach was saying, hey, don't try too far to where you can get hurt again or concussion again. Like, so I don't know if, like, if he's going to come out and be like Tom Brady, where nobody's going to be able to touch him, he's not even going to give you the option. He's going to throw it down or throw it away before
like
you
stay
get close.
pocket. Yeah,
I mean, that's smart, but I don't know, man. He seems like such a scrambler, and he does not see these people coming sometimes. And I don't know. I'm just worried about him, man. So we'll see what he does next week, because he's coming back. Yep. And supposedly he's super laser focused, and I know our defense will step back up because, it just seems like the Dolphins thing it's been a QB curse, for a while. I mean,
so
I think the stat was.
We were talking on the way here. He's waiting for that question about them
Hill.
stealing your boy.
Yeah, man. So I was, of course, emotionally distraught right whenever it happened, but I'm glad that I'm glad that somebody with my kind of emotion is not the GM, because I was freaking out. But now that I've taken, obviously it's going well for us, but dude, 5 draft picks for one player,
you can't beat that.
I mean, he's the most electric receiver in the league,
and we were the only team with 5 draft picks, to be able to do that and be okay.
I think long term it was a good decision, but man, it freaking hurt, because he was like one of my. I mean, I have a freaking Tyreek Hill jersey,
and that's on my spectrum with the Titans, like the AJ Brown trade is just like
devastating
to the Eagles,
and especially now that the Eagles are 6-0, he's
crushing
crushing the game.
He's crushing it there,
and we're like barely winning games now.
Yeah. God, those were both really surprising trades. Even from a Miami point of view, when we got Tyreek, I was just like jaw to the ground that we pulled the trigger on that.
Yeah.
I did not see it coming.
Yeah,
definitely.
There's definitely some teams that are all in this year. The Bills for sure.
This year has been insane,
dude.
too.
How
you cannot call anything.
How are the Jets and the Giants only lost one game?
Like Super Bowl contenders, you know what I mean?
That's insane to me.
I love it. That is my favorite. That's the reason NFL is my favorite, is because there's so much parity in the league. The team that's the worst gets the first pick, and it's just, you never know what the turnover is going to be like. I thought Cincinnati would be great this year because they're coming off the Super Bowl run and all this stuff, and they're barely holding it together,
Yeah.
They've had
some
That's
injuries.
a great team, though, honestly.
Yeah.
They've had some injuries, too. Wide receiver and tight end, obviously.
Yeah.
Man, the Jets and Giants, that's a huge surprise.
Yeah,
for sure.
Saquon Barkley came out swinging.
Dude.
Well,
He's
I was a little off
he's
last
on a different
season,
level
but trust
now.
me, I'll come back, and dude.
He's on a different mindset.
And just watching his workouts and stuff like that, dude is a monster.
Yeah.
His legs are the size of me.
I know.
It's insane.
He's going to be one of those rarities that got the injury that you thought would change his whole career. No, he just got better from the injury. So, very surprising people, man. But I will tell you this, with the Tyreek Hill thing, I understand why Andy Reid didn't allow him to do interviews.
Oh my gosh, he's a wild card. What do you think about the ping pong table?
Oh my God! So it was cool to hear. The coach came out and he's like, "Yeah, Tyreek and some of the captains got together and they pulled out the ping pong table because we lost and we're trying to get refocused, blah blah blah. And I really commended him. I want these leaders to lead." And then they interviewed Tyreek and he's just like, "Oh no, it was just broken. We just ordered a new one. We're just waiting for it to come in."
Yeah, he's like, we ordered a custom one. It's even better, and we're gonna do a tournament next Sunday.
It just nullified everything the coach said. All this inspiring things, which worries me about the coach, that he's not being kind of genuine with us.
I mean, it's better than the situation you were in before.
Well, I'm just worried about Tua, man, because some sketchy stuff going on.
No doubt. So, what is there any breakthroughs or anything new about BusCall that maybe I don't know?
We just started our first TikTok yesterday.
Okay.
So we're
we're late to the game, but we're
okay.
we're getting in there.
Yeah.
It's just a side note. I just want to say how insane these last 2 years have been with TikTok, and just watching how people have blown up off of it.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
things like that. It's insane.
Crazy.
I still tour now. I play with a band called After Midtown, and their management is The Core, and Baylor Zimmerman is on the same management, and just to watch hundreds of millions of streams.
Yeah,
there's
algorithms.
It's insane.
There's a science behind it.
And
these
he's
days.
only been in the game for a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude, people like that, it's so hard to get frustrated because
it's extremely frustrating. But you got to be like, I mean, good for you. You got it. You know what I mean?
I saw an interview where he was like, "Yeah, man, I didn't even realize I could sing till about a year and a half ago.
Oh, I saw that too.
I was singing at the construction site, and somebody's like, "Dude, you should try to go record some music."
Yeah.
No, and it's like I listened to his album, I think yesterday for the first time, and it was incredible.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah. He's really good.
He's got good writers behind him too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that. I heard that interview too, and I was kind of like, man, that's kind of like a punch to the gut to all these people out there that are like busting their ass, and have been for years. But sometimes, it just comes easy to people.
It's also just the newest platform. You know what I mean? Because you had everybody gave Kane Brown hate because he came off of, what was he on YouTube?
YouTube,
Facebook.
His Facebook.
Oh, Facebook.
His Facebook
it blew up on
huge.
Facebook, and everybody gave him shit. I'm like,
New
dude, he's running it. He's running the game now. You know what I mean?
Well, he had like hundreds of thousands of fans before he even got into any record deal or anything like that. And I know he went. I think Chris Young was his first real big change, but I'm pretty sure there were maybe more fans there for Kane than Chris, but they're both huge,
like devout fans. You know what I mean?
Man.
Not just like I like one of his songs.
Yeah.
They know everything.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, and that's another frustrating part is that people from on the other end of the spectrum, people get really jaded when people like rise to fame super quickly. But dude, I've in the past I was like that, but seeing how hard it is to get people to pay attention to your YouTube, to get people to pay attention to your TikTok, Facebook, like these guys have worked extremely hard and been extremely consistent, and like that's the reason. I mean, maybe they didn't pay their dues the classic way where you have to go play 600 dive bars in 2 years. But dude, like, the internet is hard because there's so much competition. And if you do really good on the internet, I mean, there's a reason. So it's and at some point, you're gonna pay your dues whenever you come up super quick because you're gonna be put on the road and you're gonna be battle tested. And a lot of these people are passing the test. I've seen them live.
That's the hard side.
Yeah.
Like, touring is very hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not just physically, but mentally. A lot of people don't understand the sacrifice that comes with touring. You know what I mean? Like, relationships, things like that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a game changer. When people get out there, they're like, this isn't what I thought it was. Because everybody thinks it's just a party. And I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong, but it is. But it's a lot of work.
I tour managed for a little bit on the road, and that that's pretty much the daddy of the group. That's the guy who's coordinating everything and making sure everybody's behaving and showing up on time to where they need to be, and everything's running smooth. But it was just, I mean, it's a cutthroat kind of thing. Like, it's a big commitment to leave every weekend and leave your life. You know what I mean? Like,
especially when you got a family.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dude, I applaud the guys who have kids and families and stuff like that, and are able to hold all of that together. Because I'm single and I'm barely holding it together. But as far as BusCall, the TikTok, we're gonna start working with that. The podcast is coming, so
awesome.
Something similar to this.
Where are you guys gonna do that one at?
I don't know, we haven't figured it out yet.
I just got the last bit of
all of the
equipment
so.
Today, actually, this morning, and so now I'm trying to get the engine turning in my head of like some ideas of what we want to do. Obviously, we want to interview some artists and be in some different venues. I think we want to, where I want to film it at. Obviously, Tin Roof, maybe before our shows and stuff like that. But I'm really focused on content right now, man. Content. I think that's how we can get our message out to the mass.
Yep.
We can obviously we've done really well just from people coming to Nashville and visiting, but I think just
it's the $6 Tito's. It gets them every time.
No doubt.
To get these artists' music out to these people because they deserve it. This is going to be a really cool way that we're going to do it, and in a creative way, because that's the only way to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, and then just kind of on the horizon, we got our 5-year coming up.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's going to be, we're thinking about doing it big. So got a couple ideas we're cooking on right now, but yeah, it's crazy to say that 5 years.
Yeah,
we've seen
so fast,
like
man.
When you're in the hustle of the showcase writers round world, you see so many comes and so many goes, so many rise, so many falls. You know what I mean? But we stayed consistent. You know what I mean? Dude, don't even get me started with the pandemic, bro. That was a nightmare.
I know.
We tried to come back early, and like the first day we had our bus call, they put the mask mandates out.
Yeah.
So nobody showed
up.
Like, we had a full lineup, and I think there was 2 people in the crowd.
Yeah.
And nobody in the bar. The bar was completely empty.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, we can't do this. Like, this is...
Which...
It's just bad.
Both sides, I say, it's understandable, but yeah, it was definitely very hard to book because people were catching it, obviously.
Yeah, catching it.
Nobody wanted to spread it. And,
yeah, because, I mean, that was at the time where we didn't have answers to what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, the level of danger that it was. And so we came back, pulled out, and then once they let us we turned around, and this was when they were allowing people to sit.
Yeah. With their masks off.
Yeah, with their mask off, you could sit, but if you got up, you had to put it on. So we were just doing acoustic at that point, and I mean, I commend all the acoustic rounds around town, but I don't like them personally. But those were some rough months for sure.
Yeah,
but we came up to.
We did our best.
It was in February. It was like two Wednesdays before our anniversary, and we were like, "Look, we got a killer lineup. We're gonna turn this around and do it big."
Yep.
And Tin Roof was just like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it,
They finally, they were, obviously following the rules, but towards the end where we were kind of just like, hey, man, like, we got to get back to some normalcy.
This isn't us,
like, we're such a high-energy show that it's really weird for us to do a show and be all hyped about it when everybody's got to sit down and...
Yep.
And it's just
we're like, y'all,
and no dancing.
Y'all party your asses off, but make sure you stay in your seat. Like, those were weird times.
Yeah. But it was we got through it.
And then when we came back swinging this year.
Yeah.
Like, we've had some really big shows. Our 4-year anniversary was stacked.
Yep.
We had like Sam Grow. We had Alex and
Cat
and Alex.
Cat and Alex,
Oh, they're amazing, dude.
I haven't heard them. I just seen the billboard.
They're
blowing
so
up now.
good. Yeah. But it was so much fun, and like I said, we partnered with St. Jude, and everybody is so gracious when it comes to like charities like that. They're like, let's go. So, but there were some
Walker
artists that,
Montgomery.
Walker
donated
Montgomery
$5,000, right?
And he opened the show.
Yeah.
Like, it was nuts.
Good.
But and we got Corey Marks.
Corey Marks, yeah, big rock act in Canada.
In Canada, he was coming through, and we were able to snag him, and he killed it.
He crushed it, man.
Awesome.
He played Whiskey Jam too the night after.
So. And that's one of the things that's fun about BusCall is like, we're not just country.
Yeah.
We do everything. And when I do the lineups, like, I will mix it together in one lineup. Like, you're gonna get a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? But then we'll have a full-fledged rock night where it's just heavy.
Yeah.
And that's just really me just feeding myself. But it's I think that's kind of like become a staple for us, where it's like, you never know what you're going to get at BusCall.
Yeah.
But you do know that you're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
And you're going to see some incredible music.
And it's my favorite thing, too, to like, because we have tons of artists that reach out, but we also go and find people, too.
Yeah.
And I'll find super obscure bands in the middle of, like, East Nashville that, like, played to nobody. And I'm like, yeah, come on over and play. They put them in front of an audience. Next thing you know, they're playing Whiskey Jam. You know what I mean? Like, get them in the circuit. Get the people, because as small as Nashville is, it has pockets.
Yeah.
You got your Midtown, you got your Broadway, you got your East Nashville, and people just stay in their pockets.
Yeah.
Let's break those pockets. You know what I mean? I'm all about that.
Let's bring it all to the center, man. Like, I love that we can get East Nashville acts over into Demonbreun. Like, that's crazy.
And then with touring acts will hit us up, so we'll get those. We'll get international acts. It's awesome.
We'll get international acts that are just like, hey, we're in the country for a week. Can we come play? And we'll check them out, and they're awesome.
Yeah,
and
we're like, absolutely. Yeah, we had this brother sister trio from Australia that were just in town writing. I forget their names, but they were just in town for like a week.
Something like Lions?
No, it's their last name. I can't remember it though. But absolutely incredible. Yeah. And they were just here for like a week writing, and they were like, "Yeah, we hear you're like the thing to do." And we were like, "Come on in!" Absolutely crushed it, and it's like, I love those opportunities to be able to get that talent, put it out there, and a lot of the time, it surprises us because we'll hear their music. Because when you submit, we always ask for music and a live video so we can review and just kind of see what it is. And of course, we have to turn down a few people here and there, but you'll see the video, you hear the music, and you're like, yeah, they sound pretty good. Yep. Just put them on. Absolutely incredible. Your jaw to the floor. Yeah. You know what I mean? I love that.
Yeah. Oh, man, I say it to myself all the time when I'm at my show. I'm just like, man, I'd pay a lot of money to see these people for the next hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks that there's only enough time for 3 or 4 songs. Like, some of these acts, I just want to keep hearing more, man. And But then we just invite him back, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Dude, speaking of rock, you were talking about it a second ago. What do you guys think of Hardy's rock stuff that he's been throwing out?
I honestly have not dove into it. I've heard like a little bit of it.
The alternative.
Yeah, alternative. Yeah, I heard Truck Bed, which was pretty cool. Very like Puddle of Muddish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean with that guitar riff. I will say that when that last chorus hits with that like dive bomb, bro, I was like, oh shit, okay, I see you. But of course, Wall to Wall is. I love that. That one came out
sold out.
That one came out sold out. Yeah.
Sold out.
That one came out swinging, dude.
Yeah.
I just love that he's testing the waters with the industry because it's almost like he's forcing the hand. And I love that because the industry's so locked into their ways, especially the music industry, and it's very hard to change that, right? But when you have somebody who's such a big hit writer like he is,
you gotta listen.
And such a huge following, different following, and cult following, and just an all-around great music and guy, it's really cool to see him kind of just, hey, I'm gonna release this song and it's gonna play all over country radio, and everybody just loves it, man. Yep. Everybody just loved it, and like even his media, like his videos that he posted on Instagram was so different. I forget his something Gallagher is the videographer, but you could just tell that he's something special. You know,
100%.
And he's definitely the first to do what he's doing, full in, I would say.
Yeah.
And now I think it's like a full on transition. Like I'm sure he's already conquered the country.
It's so interesting too to watch just the I guess culture of Nashville, where like labels are slowly becoming obsolete. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's like we don't need you. We're doing this on our own, whether you're going to give us money or not. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's crazy.
There's a lot of independent artists out there, and they're crushing it, and they're keeping all their money, and which is great because they just reinvested in themselves. And, they get further and further, and which is great because, like, dude, it's really, and this is just, I'm not bashing the industry or anything, but it's very tight niche, man, and it's really hard for somebody with a dream to just automatically do it. There, like you said, like Bailey Zimmerman, he just came up with this idea of like, oh, maybe I'll sing one day, and did really good. I'm sure there was a massive team behind him trying out some new marketing technique that was like, hey, how fast can we blow this kid up? Like that's how it is these days. Yeah. And without that, it's very hard. And I just hate that. I hate that. It's not I'm not saying this is about all labels and stuff, but I'm just saying the overall general idea is like, they're in control, The artist isn't. I mean, there's plenty of way better artists that I've heard and seen than the ones that are out there making all this money.
It also comes down to like just oversaturation in the market. Yeah. Like there's just so much content and so much stuff out there that tons of people who are really, really good are just getting looked over. Because they don't have that
following,
like you were saying, that internet hustle. Yeah. They don't have that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they might be playing tons of shows, but they don't have the numbers to show for on social. So.
Exactly.
They don't get the time of day.
You approach a label and pretty much like the artist development section is like that doesn't exist anymore. It's like you create yourself, you create your fan base, and then we'll bring you.
And then we'll decide whether we want to invest.
Exactly.
In it or not.
Exactly.
Because honestly, man, at the end of the day, they got to make money, and the way they make money is selling records and merch. So. Merch is more on the artist side, but like selling records and now you don't even get a full record. You get like one song. You get a 12-song record, but it's released throughout the whole entire year.
Yeah. How crazy is the whole Zach Bryan thing? Like that guy is not on a label, and he's like almost as big as Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs as far as
numbers. You know why? It's because I feel like the industry is really looking for the difference, right? The differentiator in artists, and those backwoods, those real artists that have like the yodel and
like Childers and stuff.
Yeah, Childers. That stuff right now is what people are craving. It's more of like a bluesier style country, right? I love it. I love it. And
it also ties into the cool factor. It's like, they're not mainstream.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's
people love that. They love to be part of
in music, like especially. Yeah, they wanna know the artist.
You don't know who that is. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so crazy because like if you look at it by just the raw statistics, he's very mainstream by those, figures, but his music does not reflect that at all. It's just like him playing acoustic guitar and uploading videos where he's singing in front of a cell phone. You know,
He's
like,
a real guy. Like
Yeah.
he's very relatable because of how fast he grew. He's still a normal dude.
Yeah.
Like you said. I mean, I've seen some of his TikToks of just him sitting on his steps, just playing acoustic guitar, messing around. You know what I mean? It's really cool, and I think a lot of these younger artists, especially, the artists that I book downtown at Losers and stuff, they're already, covering a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
I'm hearing it everywhere. So it's really cool to see, man. I love it when the industry makes it kind of a turn and introduces something different, because I feel like, having an open mind to that really, helps just everybody.
And also, like, the country market, and I've said this for a while now, but the country market was the last, in my opinion, the last genre to go sub.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
To split into
Like how
sub-genres.
rock, you have like rock music, you got punk, you got metal, you got
Subgenre.
Scandinavian
Subgenres,
death
yeah.
metal, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Upside down. Country for the longest time was just 90s country, outlaw country,
and that was it.
and that was about it.
And
then,
if you ever delved out of that, people were pissed.
yeah, and I
and
mean,
they still do.
but those
They
were
still
also
do,
those
yes.
were also
I think it's more
the
acceptable.
game changers. You know what I mean? Like, what's his face? Jason Aldean coming out with Dirt Road Anthem.
Keith Urban with
where
the
he's
pop.
rapping
I
on
feel
it.
like,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Keith Urban with the pop. I feel like those are real
Yeah.
game changer artists that really influenced.
Sam Hunt coming out,
Oh.
changing the whole
Yeah.
map of
Really taking pop and
yeah,
And
putting
rap and putting it
808s,
together.
putting 808s over acoustic guitar.
Right.
You're like, dude, what is this? This is
Yeah.
crazy.
he brought that Drake effect.
So, but now,
Yeah.
like, and going back to Hardy, there is that subgenre now, and it's really booming now. Of that like rock, like heavy rock country.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not southern rock; it's heavy rock country.
Yeah.
where they're playing in like drop A.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
know.
I mean? They're literally playing metal guitar
Yeah.
with country pop lyrics on top of it.
Well, we always
and it works.
We
so
always
well.
talk about that. Is like these country bands, these professional country bands. Like even John, he can attest to this because he's a musician on the road. All the musicians that play for these artists are metal artists,
Yeah.
or like metal musicians.
They're literally all Warped Tour guys. And they're all
all
Warped Tour
like-
guys that were like, we never made it rock. Let's go to
they're all
Nashville.
playing emo music in soundtrack. Like
Yeah, it's
I love it.
Yeah, it's
cool to see
such
that
a
influence.
fun time with music to hear all this kind of blend and stuff like that, and I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. Yeah, I always feel like if you have the attitude that like there's nothing new and good that you like, it's really because you're just not looking hard enough, because there is something for everybody. Like you got the whole culture wall thing, and that's like a whole different, just straight up. Did you guys hear the? Are you guys familiar with culture wall at all?
I'm not.
I'm not. No.
Okay, so
I'm gonna look
he's
him up after this.
yeah, he's got like this Johnny Cash super raspy voice. I'm trying to think of his biggest songs. Probably "Sleeping on the Interstate." It's like, "Hey darling, sleeping on the blacktop. Hey darling, running through the
Oh,
trees."
cool. So
honey."
it's got that classic sound.
Yep, and it's got like some claps and stuff in it. But the way he was singing, and you watch his early videos, the mic was down here, and he was really like straining his neck to like get this really raspy sound, and it was super cool and interesting, and his stuff blew up because of it. But I guess he went and saw a vocal coach, and the vocal coach was like, dude, if you keep doing this, you're gonna have no voice in like less than 10 years. So his newest record he put out, it sounds like a totally different artist. It's like a very like just straight up 50s country is what he sounds like. It's it's just he's singing properly, and dude, that's that whole, I guess that would be considered like alt country maybe.
You know,
It's- dude,
history
there's something for everybody.
tends to repeat itself, right? It's full circle with fashion, with music, especially. We will go back to a time where the 40s, 50s, 60s era is going to be cool again, and then we're going to bring that influence to that modern day music, and we're just going to cycle through it all again.
You got Greta Van Fleet that sounds just like
Oh,
freaking
cool. Yeah.
They are Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin, yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But and it's also too like you got to look at the writers. Like all the writers in town right now are like 25 to 35, like as far as like
Yeah.
In age
general.
range. That was like 2006 to like 2010 music, which was like Fall Out Boy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the punk pop, all that kind of stuff. Those guys are writing the music now.
I know.
So that's going to blend into what everything sounds like now.
Yeah.
And especially like there's a lot like melodies and stuff have gotten like super rhythmic.
Yeah.
And so I'm a big fan of that. I love that.
Yeah.
But I
And
think
that's kind of like
to
the
your
pop,
point-
hip hop feel, you know?
Yeah,
I like
But I
that.
think to Hunter's point is like, one of the successes I think that Morgan Wallen had was everything was so mainstream pop country and so different and not real country, and everybody's wanting that real country, and he brought that flair. If you go back to his voice auditions, he's very raspy, he's very rock. He sounds like a different artist to me, at least. But now he's really come into his dharma is like what he's supposed to be, and as an artist, and he really is delving into that backwoods country guy of like just wholesome country traditional. I mean, he brought traditional music back, but in a very edgy way with the lyrics.
His album sounds like a playlist.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like an album because it's all over the place.
Yeah,
but it's great. It's an amazing
so good.
album.
And then he, with Earn and Hardy on that as writers and whoever else he's written with, it's just, they're bangers one after the other.
It's crazy too to watch these big, like your Luke Combs, your Morgan Wallen, like when they're taking off, their team is blowing up under them. You know what I mean? All the writers are not just writers anymore. They're out on the road. They're touring. They're selling.
You got Drew Parker now.
Exactly.
Who's a Luke
know.
Combs writer who's a phenomenal singer and
oh my
showman.
God. I used to book him at Memphis Tin Roof all the time. And I'm talking, and I'll tell you this, it was cheap. Yeah. I was getting him for cheap. Yeah. And every time I would see this kid, I'd be like, oh my God. It just wasn't his time, man. He was very classic country. And now that it's coming back, it's working, you know? And he, like you said, man, just phenomenal artist. Decent guy. Super nice. But it was just, it's just really crazy how much I was getting him then, and probably how much he's worth now, because ever since the Luke, because he would, when Luke grew up, he brought his friends with him. Yep. Writers.
I got to give him props for that.
Yeah. I love that. That's our whole mission. Lift each other up, man. Like he did it from management, like you said, from management to music to writers. Everybody came into their own and nailed it for him. And Cappy. Cappy. He's like a genius manager.
Yeah, so. I love it. Well, guys, we've been going for over an hour. We'll start wrapping it up, but. Man, I've had a really, really good time talking to you guys, getting to know your story a little bit better. That's my favorite part about the show is, like, even a lot of my friends that I'm talking to, I didn't know half the stuff that they told me before going in, and it's just so cool hearing about the origins of BusCall and kind of how far you guys have come and how you're really keeping at it. I'm really excited for the TikTok. I'm really excited for the podcast and stuff, and just again, thanks for giving like young artists like myself a shot.
Dude, thank you guys.
Awesome.
Of course, yeah.
We wouldn't be anything without you guys. Honestly, we would just be two guys that just
have an idea.
Had an idea.
Yeah.
And it's really life-changing for me. It's been life-changing for me, and John, I'm sure, can say the same. But to really see you guys just fall into your own and flourish from it too. And
it's like, it's like that proud dad feeling.
Yeah, we want to help, man. That's what we're all about now. We want to catapult. We always explain to some artists, like, look, we want to catapult you. So when you're releasing and stuff, that's when we want to get you in there, because we want to help that. And if you're still going, we want to help you again and keep that momentum.
Don't forget us when you get up.
Yeah. Come do a show one time for us whenever we make it.
But self-plug here. If you have never been to a BusCall before, it's every Wednesday night at Tin Roof on Demonbreun.
Which is tonight.
8 to 11. We got a killer lineup tonight. Come on out. Also, if you can't make it out, we do stream live on volume.com/buscall.
Yep. You just got to make a username, and it's completely free.
And it looks and sounds phenomenal. I actually sometimes prefer just to watch it than to be there because it looks so good. But they come in with cameras, all that. They edit it right there. It's fantastic.
Dude, that's incredible. Is that a good platform if like I ever wanted to get into like live streaming some of my shows?
100%. Because they're worldwide.
Gotcha.
Like it's not just a Nashville thing. Like they're everywhere, so they have a following and
just a really good team behind them.
Super good team. They
do more than what they should for us.
Yeah,
and we're very grateful for them. And it baffles me sometimes of what they offer us and give to us, and how quick and great and professional it is.
It's a great partnership across the board.
Yeah,
like just everybody's happy. That's once again, that's volume.com/buscall.
Yep.
Cool. And BusCall is all one word, BusCall.
If you want to look us up, everything is BusCall Nashville.
Yeah.
So on Instagram, TikTok, if you want to submit, like I said before, send us some music and a live video to either at BusCall Nashville on Instagram or buscallnashville@gmail.com.
No, we have info@BusCallNashville.com.
That's right. We changed everything. See, everything's changing. Changing too fast.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a website coming up soon. Like, you could use that if you're seeing it when this comes out. You can use that old email. It's all connected, but we're going to get ready to come out with merch and easier way for you guys to submit your stuff to us and just be involved and see what we got
Come along for the ride on BusCall.
Hop on
Yeah.
the bus.
So my goal tonight, my mom is in town for a work trip, and she's got like a bunch of colleagues with her, and of course they all want to do Broadway, but I'm gonna freaking try to get them out to BusCall.
Just got to tell them, look, man, Broadway's Broadway. You want to see real Nashville and real artists
Yep.
grinding? Come to BusCall. Come
And
go
not
to,
have to pay an arm and a leg for
that's
a Bud
awful.
Light.
Yeah. If you guys like cheap beer, they have freaking that you can get a bucket of Montucky Cold Snacks, which is this new beer, and it's $10 for a bucket. I think they may have raised it to $12, maybe.
That's still
Which is like
very good.
And we got
price.
$6 Tito's, which compared to Broadway would be $15. So
$15 all day.
more than a 50% discount.
So like it's just
pretty much two for
great
one.
event, great people, cheap drinks. You're gonna discover some new artists that you love, and it's just.
And you never know who's going to be there, man. Like, everybody comes through.
Yep. Yeah, you
great.
never know who you're gonna bump into in there. And one last thing I will say: there are 2 tin roofs, and they're both great. But BusCall takes place at the one on Demonbreun Street. So.
Demonbreun.
Yeah.
Demonbreun.
So if you're on Broadway, you're not going to see BusCall unless it's a Broadway BusCall, like a special event or whatever. That does happen, but yeah, it's on Demonbreun Street, which is more the local scene. If you're trying to like, hey, what's Nashville actually like aside from just the pure tourism? And it's awesome.
Real short ride.
Yeah, it's right over the highway. I think it's like a 1.4 miles.
We used to
from Broadway.
walk. We used to walk it all the time.
I do.
All the
I've
time.
still.
Do you? It's about what, a 30-minute walk, right?
Dude, there was one night where I walked from Midtown to Broadway. I walked back and forth 3 times. I had like 9 miles on my put on like whatever the thing's called, the tractor steps. It was insane.
That's funny.
But yeah,
I would love to come back, man, and be on again.
Yeah.
You know,
And-
just keep you updated. And
Yep.
obviously, you keep us updated with what's going on with you. Because
Man, once we get our stuff going, we'll have you on ours.
yeah, I can't wait for that. Well, and like I always tell everybody, like I'm really trying to grow this thing right here. So I'm excited to have you guys back when I got a little bit bigger audience and stuff.
and tag us so we can
100%.
repost
100%.
for you and hopefully generate some new fans to you.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, Jon Sepulveda, Justin Bralts, the 2 founders of BusCall, which is the best live band showcase in Nashville. And thank you guys so much. This has been episode 16 of the Folks Like Us podcast. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very cool, man.
Cool. She was raised by collared shirts, and I was raised on collard greens.